Okay, this is going to be adding new bungee cords. We're taking the old ones off and replacing the bungee cords for a tri-pacer. Now we're actually doing it for a Funky Cub. It's just an extended tri-pacer type airplane, but it uses the same thing as a pacer, tri-pacer, and a lot of the other ones. To remove them, cut them at a 45 slowly, and as you cut them, they'll start springing out. And this is not the best kind of knife for it, but it'll work. And it'll pop out. Don't get your fingers in there as it sucks around. It's pretty easy to take them out. I don't know of any other way to take them off. Some people told me, well, you know, you can save them by using your tool to take them off, but that'll be in the next part of the video. And let's just take them off here. And if you cut them slowly, they'll just ease off there just like the other one does. Don't cut your hand. It's better to wear gloves. Okay, and that's all there is to that. Okay, for the installation tool, as you can see, we have ours in a vise. The vise isn't bolted down as we talked about earlier, so you have to kind of really hang on to it when you're using it, and it works pretty good. We just use, instead of pins for ours here, we just used bolts and with a small nut on the back side that wasn't a locking nut. We used just exactly like the plan said, except we added this extra piece in here, our jack, because we use a 2-inch tubing. Our jack's 2-inch square tubing. Our jack actually doesn't touch on the inside where they normally weld them in there. So we welded some plates on it. We spot welded it at the bottom, but then we made this big bracket on the back, and which was just out of some scrap. We'd got that at the Standard Iron, which is just an iron place locally. You can buy the scrap iron that they get brand new stuff, but it's cut off pieces. That's about the big as that piece was, for like 50 cents a pound or something like that. So you can get a whole bunch of it for 20 bucks, but we already had some of it. We did the very same thing on this big angle here, which is about a 6 by 4 inch angle is what it was originally. And we did the same thing here on making our bracket. He shows a very elaborate and bent up and cut out bracket. His is a lot better than what ours is. Ours, we just welded ours on there with a cracker box welder, and as you can see, but it works perfectly fine. You can see the jack. Jack's part of the way out of here, but this is not attached to the jack. As you can see, the jack just pushes it. Any jack at any salvage yard, these here, they actually had them throwed up in a pile. I guess nobody uses these old kind of jacks like this anymore. For about 7 or 8 bucks. I think we give 8 bucks for ours because we got the handle with it, and we just cut the end off the handle. But a screwdriver plugged in there would be just as good, but you would not want to turn it by hand. As you can see, it goes back and forth, slides on the deal. We just took some regular strap from Lowe's. We didn't have anything like that, so we just went to Lowe's and bought a $6, $4 piece of 1-inch by 3/16 strap and just bent it around there. Sometimes when you're welding it, you'll get some slag up here on the top part. Just you need to buff that off because that'll keep it from sliding back and forth. We bent all the parts in the same vise that you're seeing, and we actually just bent them in the vise, and we didn't do anything real special to them. Just bent them and welded them down there. And as you can see, our job is not a welder, so we like to think of us as airplane pilots first, welders like 20th or 30th on the list of things to do. So you can just kind of see the way we did it. The tool worked out perfectly fine. On a Piper product that's something similar to what the tri-pacers or the pacers are, this is the only tool to use. I've tried using in the past the old bumper jack kind. This is years ago. This is so much slicker, and the bumper jack, it never gets away from you. I mean, the hardest part is breaking it over, but if the vise was actually bolted to the ground, that wouldn't even be hard. It's just you got to hang on to the rack, you might say, and as you break it over. But that breaking it over is probably about the hardest part. In the pins, you'd think that those are just 1/2 inch cold rolled steels that you buy at Lowe's is what we did ours. I'm sure Home Depot or Costco, anybody's got the same stuff, any hardware place. And the shortest piece you could buy is 3 feet, and you can see we only need about 3 inches. So we're looking for something good to use the rest of that round 1/2 inch tubing. We heated ours and bent them back the same way the original designer did, the original builder did on it, but pretty much that's it. Nobody probably watched this video, and we don't care because we got it all made. But we're making the video more than anything because in probably about another 10 years, we'll need to use it again. And we ain't going to remember how to use it if we don't have a video. And maybe the other video's gone. You guys have a good day. Bye. Okay, the first thing to do is ours was already fairly painted, so it didn't need to be. They've been replaced in the past. Bolt this onto here. Now this is actually another design. I'm going to give the credits. To the gentleman that came up with this ideal, maybe a couple of guys, but he actually had the plans on the internet, and that's how we built this thing. We built the whole thing. Probably, we've had to go buy the jack at the salvage yard, and that cost about $8, and plus the tax. And then we had scrap metal. He used 1.25 inch. We used 2 inch only because that's what we happened to have. We built a deal for the barn, and we had that left over. And we bought a couple little pieces of strap stuff here at Lowe's, so we probably got maybe $30 in the whole thing. It doesn't look like much. I don't know if I'd loan it out to people because without supervising them, putting them on. That's kind of what our thinking on it is, but we just want to kind of show a little bit about it and how it goes. First thing we do is bolt it on. And we just put the bolt on it lightly. The other one that's got it, he's got a lot better one. He basically does his with a pin. We didn't do ours with a pin. And so we just put it on there loosely so it'll go across. And what's basically going to happen is we're going to put, after we get this lined up and put our piece of pipe on there, which the pipe is, there's a bolt for the pipe. First thing you want to do is make sure that this is lined up with your pin here. I don't know if if you can't line it up after you do it, but I'd hate to try it. I've never tried it that way. I don't think Terry's ever tried it that way, because this is not like we've got 100 years worth of experience in this. We basically got this one here. We made this one here yesterday. It took us about 4 hours scrounging up all the parts and putting it all together. And that's where we kind of got into. I think maybe this hole might not be as straight as it should be. So we just put a bolt in there and tighten it up. Not really tighten it up, just put a nut on it so it don't come off. Okay, that there should be, I would say that's probably lined up, got like it's supposed to be lined up. Everything's on it, slides all the way back. We use a fine Makita drill that we had in the toolbox, and this came with it. The jack handle came with it. We just nipped off the end of the jack panel so we can use it on the real jack. And go ahead and turn it. Okay, slip the bungee down over the handle until it's looped on the bottom and down there. And then you kind of make sure that this line where they splice it together is up towards the top. If you don't, you will pay. These here today are 1280 heavy duties. We're putting a pair of them on there. I think a regular tri-pacer, from looking at the internet, I've never had a real tri-pacer. I just had this here experimental cub, and it'll go and it'll show you that this is supposed to be, I think, like 1080s, non-heavy duties, but we're putting 1280 heavy duties on it. Ready, Terry? Run the jack out, make sure these are on square, make sure it's pretty well on there, and make sure this is pretty well straight across. And just run it out. We've got a line drawn on here. It'll try to catch on that one strap on there before it gets there. Terry's going to raise it up just a hair. It's better. I think maybe one person can do it by themselves, but I promise you it'll be hard. You need 2 people. Terry's experienced this, but we did the other one yesterday. Looks like the battery's running down in the drill. Okay, ready, Terry? I got both sides. The hardest part is getting this thing to start flipping over and holding down Okay, and then after you get it down here, it'll be bent over, and it'll be trying to go inside there. Turn it around backwards, run the drill backwards, and then it'll stuck it right up on there. Start taking the tension off. The tension's now going on the other side of this, the kits on it. And there it is. It'll pop right off there. And that's how easy it is to put the first one on. Second one's exactly the same way. It'll pooch out a little bit on the outside of the holders, but other than that, that's all there is to it. Okay, for the second one, the exact same way. Put it down over the handle. I like to put the splice point opposite from where the other splice point is. Over here, you notice we started out on the splice point. It started out right up here by the hook, and you notice how far it stretched out when it went down. So you put it up there pretty close to the front top, and then you just spritz these out a little bit, and you're ready. Make sure it's on there good. And then run the jack. Ready, Terry?
Ready.
The reason that it's kind of a little bit hard, it takes two people on ours to flip it over, is because the vise is on a stand and it's not bolted to the floor. If the stand was fixed to the floor, it wouldn't be that hard to flip over, but one person's actually having to hold over. One person's having to hold on to the bar, and one person's having to hold on to the bracket, the tool that we made. So that's kind of the whole thing on that. I'll hold down on the tool here as we go up this time. Ready? Hopefully we won't get my thumb in there. Ready? Okay, here we go. And I'm not going to kid nobody and tell you that these aren't real heavy. Okay, now this one here is going to be a long spot. See if you can push that over to the side. Okay.
Got it?
Okay, so you can see us bend it over and then just back the jack out. Now the second one is a little harder to get off sometimes. Sometimes you have to use a screwdriver to help pry them up, but the reason for that is because if you can see it, the pin is caught between the two bungees. It don't take much. It'll pop off. You get one side and the other side pops off. One of the most critical parts you want to see is to make sure that both of them is behind the holder, and like both of these are, and that's pretty much all there is to it. We'll talk a little bit about how the tool is made next, and we'll go put that one on. Have a good day.